Hello. Hi. We're doing a different one today. Today we're reading a friend of mine named Jay's work. Um, I decided to make it into a video just because then I can talk about all of it, my mind and things and stuff like that, and make it a video so then I can send them. You know what I mean? I know season one of My Hero, so some of these names and things that are happening, a lot of them I don't know, some of them I do know. So if I mess up their name or something like that, it is what it is, or if I don't know who they are, it'd be like that sometimes. Now, Jay has been known to make some saucy material, so warning, not safe for work. Okay, be good, because yeah, I'll be reading basically. And be sure to leave a comment below because while I'm reading, if you have any criticisms or advice or something like that for something like this, hey, drop it down below. I'll be sure to make sure he gets it. Okay. Keiko's a 23-year-old Omegan pro hero who's turning 24 in 4 days. He has to choose between losing his hero's license as an unmated Omega or being mated to someone he barely knows. However, the person he's matched with may be closer than he thinks. All right, 1 second. So I'm gonna use these little notes. We can use these little notes as like a note. So, Gango, 23, 24 in 4 days. Chapter 1. Yeah, that's what we know right now. People losing his ears, eyes, as made Omega, or being made of someone he barely knows. So a person he meshed with very close than he thinks. Poison alternatives for endeavors not physically work, but they're much abusive. None of the villains, no hurt, no pain, except for the type each carries with them. So baggage. Yeah. No, I'm back. This is my first attempt at a longer work. I have a few chapters of this already right now. The rest of my brain waiting to be flashed out. Anyway, I hope you like all the first part. Bet. Shout out Jay. Shout out Jay. Mats with water. Fuck, there's just too much going on. Kick right his face through his already messy blonde locks. There were dark sunken half circles beneath his golden eyes. Fuck, there's just too much going on. Kigo raked his fingers through his already messy blonde locks. They were dark, sunk in half circles beneath his golden eyes, and his skin held little color. His wings were held close to his body, taut due to his anxiety. The past few weeks had been hard on him. Patrol was easy. So was the paperwork that came after it. However, he'd been dodging calls from one of the Hero Association partner agencies. Okay. We'll make a note of that. Gold eyes. Golden eyes. Pale skin. High anxiety. Why? Japanese Mating and Family Association. Thankfully, he was rarely ever home, so there was very few times where agents came to his home to speak with him. That didn't mean they had only had one talent. But that didn't mean they only had one line of attack. 5 envelopes sat unopened on his tiny desk. They were all professionally printed with his legal name to let him know that they were from the government. In the corner of each envelope was a neat red stamp, a family seal, like the one he carried for any legal documents, but was for the association itself, to make everyone feel comfortable in reaching out to them about mates and family planning. What bullshit. Hidden discontent and or anger towards family? Question mark. You've been trying so very hard to dodge the government itself due to one very important factor. As a hero, Hawks valued his time at the time of heroes he fought alongside. He wanted to make a better world for them, a place with so little crime they had time to beat people too. But how the hell was he going to do that if you were barefoot and pregnant with some ungrateful alpha's pups? He hated being reminded of his Omega status and the letters that did nothing more than fan the hot flame already lit underneath him. Okay. Wants to create a better world or live in that everyone can actually live their lives as well. So he'd run himself ragged, took on 2 patrol shifts every other day and trained in between when he wasn't sleeping or eating. when he wasn't sleeping or eating. Mirko gave him the side eye more than once when she saw his stance wobble during their sparring matches. He found it hard to stay awake while he was at home the past few days as well. The cold made no better with him having to bundle up to simply stay above freezing while flying. He neglected all of his chores and did little more than shower and crawl into his nest bed. He felt like a machine, but it was what he had to do because he also needed to prove himself. It was regular to keep mine off of being in a forced relationship, which is fine. Needs to prove himself? Question mark. To who? He needed the world to know that Omegas are more than incubators or homemakers or teachers. Even if they didn't know he was an Omega right then, they could be outstanding heroes too, even better ones than the Alphas that assumed the entire hero charts was theirs. And being the number 2 hero on the charts wasn't enough. He needed to push harder before he told anyone. With that thought swimming at the front of his mind, Kegel shoved his faithless palms. Found it so hard to sit there and think about his goal rather than the only things to get to it. Getting into that the mating and family association would not stop attempting to contact him about getting mated until he told them he was going to do it. This hard thought caused her hand to dart out and snatch the most recent envelope up from the stack. He ripped open the neatly folded paper and jerked the correspondence from it. It unfolds easily, and he finally drinks the printed words. Omegas are more than just breeding houses and domesticated job holders. Being number 2 isn't enough. Opens letter to Kami Keigo-san. This is the Japanese Mating and Family Association's 5th written attempt, mailed on December 15th. 15th? Hey, we're almost there. A month away. Reach out to you concerning your upcoming 24th birthday. As stated in previous letters, all Omegas are strongly encouraged to find a mate before turning 24 due to infertility and age. However, the steps have not been taken to the citizens and to secure a mate and file the necessary paperwork with the corresponding prefecture. The Japanese Mating Family Association has a jurisdiction to assist and help citizens find mates. Per the Second Gender Act, in the event that an Omega has not acquired a mate along with proper documentation by the 24th birthday, the matter comes within the government's purview. To abide by this act, the Japanese Mating and Family Association has included a face card of the alpha that has been chosen as your mate if another is not chosen before January 4th. On the back are the characteristics of the Japanese Mating and Family Association utilized to determine which would be the best potential match for you, along with the summary, biography, and contact number. Please note, proper paperwork is not completed and processed by the prefecture's office by January 4th. Your hero license will be revoked until May is chosen and paperwork has been processed. Sincerely, Tamashi Hirotaka, head of Japanese Mating and Family Association, Musutafu, Prefecture Branch. Okay. Signed signature at the bottom of the paper drained what little color remained in Keigo's skin. They were going to take his hero license. That couldn't be illegal. It absolutely couldn't. He hastily abandoned the letter, took it to the laptop. Can you get your hero license taken away? Was all he had to type before if you don't have a mate popped up. He mastered the option and clicked it. The top link of the search engine led to the association's website. If a mate is not found by the Omega's 21st birthday or an Alpha's 30th birthday, and multiple attempts have been made to contact the citizen, a mate will be designed to the citizen. If paperwork has not been processed before 1 week after the citizen's corresponding birthday, the citizen's driver's license, hero's license, or any other identification will be considered void until paperwork is processed. You had to read the words twice, let them sink in. First, there was anger. How could not having a mate reasonably bar him from continuing being a hero? Takami was his own person. He should be able to stop anyone else from being a hero. They shouldn't have that to stop him. And they shouldn't stop him. But that wasn't the reality of the situation. The stark truth was that sometime soon he'd be forced into a partnership with someone that he didn't know, let alone liked or wanted to spend time with. He glanced at the corner of his computer screen to check the date, and it read December 23rd. There he was, 5 days before his own birthday, and no way out. 5 days before his birthday, it was 4. Come on now. Come on now, right there. Come on now, I'm joking. There he was, 5 days before his own birthday with no way out. Whoever the bastard Alpha was, he was more likely going to have to be mated to them on paper. One heroes he knew were Alphas that he trusted enough with that issue was Endeavor and Mirko. They were both his absolute 0% chance. 0% chances. Endeavor and his wife were going strong with their 4 children, another on the way, and Mirko was positively smitten with their second oldest. He didn't trust anyone else with their information. He never let anyone else know. It was when the heat suppressant and scent blockers were for. There's no way he'd allow his name to be swept into the tabloids, expose his Omega status. He didn't care about how people saw him, Keigo, but he did care about how people saw Hawks. If the entirety of Japan knew that the number 2 hero was an Omega, and a maiden one at that, he could only imagine how they would react. He'd punch quickly, he was sure. And then he would be able to make the hero world a better place. Bishop his eyes to the envelope on the table, reached into a glossy, smooth sheet met his fingertips. He knew what expecting couldn't stand waiting longer. With harsh exhale, he brought his card into view. That fat, bright turquoise eyes that immediately caught the Omega's attention. They almost looked bored the way he stared at the camera. Triple set of nostril piercings out of his right nostril, and bridge, earlobe, cartilage, and cheek piercings dotted the rest of his face and ears. He was fair skinned with a large shock of white hair with red roots that seemed to have life of its own, like a white-hot flame. The circles framing his eyes were no better than ones on Keiko's face. One eyebrow was cracked as it asked, "Do I really have to be here doing this?" He didn't look bad. He seemed like the more alternative types, but Keiko wasn't even sure what that would mean. He really had time to clean up in the fast free funds, let alone explore relationships and dating. The offer didn't seem uptight. Maybe he could wiggle his way out of this. He flipped the card over his file. Todoroki Toya. Mort Dabi. Blue Flame, male, alpha. January 18th, Capricorn. Butt tap, O negative. Hey, shout out. Coffee jelly. I mean, hey, if he likes it. Least favorite food, fish. Yeah, whatever. What are Todoroki Rei and Angie, eldest child of the Todoroki family? Wait. He'll focus on the computer again, hurrying to tap the search board. Todoroki only brought up a few searches, but the first person was the youngest Todoroki child. Shoto. You remember this kid's name to be. He'd seen him around UA not even a month ago. Wasn't that Endeavor's kid? That made this Toku guy his older brother. Endeavor's son. Introducing Dabi. Older brother to Shoto. Question mark? Shoto. And Endeavor's son. Yeah. He was interested now. Somehow they matched him with the number 1 hero's son. That must have been a mistake. The picture and the information could possibly match. But as he kept reading, he realized that really, they did. I like relaxing on my days off, training and taking naps. I don't like people who are uptight or nagging a lot. I get enough of that at home. Family oriented isn't required, but it'd be nice since my family's kind of big. Spicy foods are a must, and my favorite season is winter. Winter season, baby. We love to hear it. Text barely took up 3 lines, but Keiko could see the similarities. Shoto, too, was a brief. His responses at school, simply for not saying more than necessary. It sort of made sense that his older brother would be similar. It sort of made sense that his older brother would be similar. Maybe the younger brother emulated it. He didn't know. As his eyes continued downward, he saw the messenger username at the bottom of the card. He stared back at him blankly, waiting to be used. A chill ran down his spine at this pressure. Maybe the Todoroki guy was also working for a quick way out of the mating system. He didn't look too interested in the photography for it, admittedly, and his biography was short. Keiko didn't want to contact the man. The last thing he wanted was to give his freedom and power of choice away, but not even reaching out. That could even end worse. Yeah, I mean, you lose your license, you're no longer a hero. That's just how it is. His wings finishes behind him and he tapped his foot to channel some of the nervous energy away from his brain. He had a few days, not many, but enough to think about it. Who knew, maybe tapping across the sweet alpha willing to lie to the government and let him be himself. He knows wishful thinking, but he wasn't ready. Shutting his laptop, he rose from his chair and sat the card next to it. He'd at least think about it. If he had to come with a plan by Christmas night, he'd text him. Terrible timing, he knew. What if he was with the cute wheeling Omega at the hotel and got a random text from a dude they were matched? He didn't want to risk it, but he could take the chance of his dream being ripped away from him either. He found the light switch with his fingers, flicking it off as he sighed through his nose. The light shut off, and he meandered his way to his bedroom, climbed into his nest, sweatpants and all, and buried into the soft blankets and pillows. He faintly smelled his own scent on them, spicy sweet, anise, and tangy orange. Tangy orange. He worried at the loose strand. He worried at a loose thread in the blanket before his hands began to slow. At least his off tomorrow and could sleep in. Sleep blanketed his mind slowly, but not for one more thought bubbled to the surface. Even if the Todoroki boy couldn't, Keiko would find a way to save himself. Kudos. Kudos. Yeah. Chapter 1. That's what that is. Chapter 2. Find out what company we keep. Keiko has one day off and he plans to use it to the fullest. Alternatively, titled as Hosk has very few friends and is lonely on his day off, but he makes the most of it. Chapter 2 is here. I'm actually really liking the pacing of this fic. I'm hatching out chapter 5 right now, but I was too eager to wait until tomorrow to post a chapter. Enjoy. Yeah. Keiko could remember nights where he'd slept much better. Shortly after falling asleep, he'd awoken from a nightmare. One where his hero life was taken from him because he refused to find a mate. He was raised by sleep once more before another nightmare could take hold. In this one, his father wasn't there. His own father was there, looming over little Keiko. Useless piece of shit. That dream repeated over and over in various situations until he started awake again around 6 in the morning. The sun was barely peeking over the neighboring skyscrapers when he rolled over to his nest. He was dressed for any semblance of restful sleep, and he hated being haunted by the same nightmare that kept him awake and afraid as a child. He burrowed further in his nest and nuzzled his cheek against his downy pillow. He was brave. Lay out a few minutes if he could. And if he would get it. Okay. Nightmares. When he closed his eyes, Keiko saw glimpses of Toya Todoroki's face. He could see his younger brother and sister, Mirko and Toe. There was never two, looming and aggressive. He didn't want to think about that at this moment, though. The Omega inhaled through his nose. Sweetness and tang rose to meet his nose. That's you there. Little rhyme, little rose to his nose. Gotcha. He deliberately scented his nest more now that his scent blockers had worn off a bit from the day prior. He was self-sufficient and was more than able to do things on his own. Today he vowed he would get a lot of things done that he'd be putting off. Cleaning and organizing were the big goals. Rolling himself from the comfortable foray of fabric, he felt little clouds of sadness sink into him. It was always like this in the mornings when he forced himself up. You want to stay in his nest and forget that the world exists during the wintertime. He shuffled himself into the adjoining bathroom as he mumbled himself. I want to sit under the kotatsu. Okay. Despite not liking to admit it, Winter reminded Keiko of his family, or the fact that he had so little of it. Remember the cold darkness of his family's leaning shack like a familiar jacket. He slipped into it by accident when it was chilly and he was alone, which was often during this time of year. He peered himself in the mirror and scoffed how absolutely ragged he appeared. Hair a mess, eyes barely open with sleep, and wings pressed to his back. He reached from side to side to his midsection. Little pops sound along his spine released much of the tension his joints held. As he stretched and eventually extended his crimson wings high towards the ceiling. More mundane things crossed Keiko's mind, like how he needed to pick up groceries and prep for the week, how he neglected to even fold the laundry from the previous week. He stood up to his full height and stared at his reflection. He was bigger than this. Then the loneliness that filled his chest with cold water made him feel that he was drowning. Finding himself, he pulled his feathers out in a showy display. Hawks was bigger than this. That was what it came down to, most of the time, is how much Hawks could do, what Hawks cared about, what was beneficial for his career. Keiko reached for the faucet. He slept for far too long without washing his face. There was a 6-cube organizer near the counter that he reached for, and one of the woven baskets within it held small towels, folded to squares. He found all the towels with practiced hands and unfurled it before setting beneath the warning rather. Beginning his morning routine didn't take long. He operated mostly on autopilot, and the mindless task given him time to focus on other things. When he got around to brushing his teeth, he reached out his mouth. And savored the feeling and smell of mint on his tongue. He gave the mirror a toothy smile and attempted to cheer himself up. He showed her a Megan bangs glinted in the light as it reminded him they were present and accounted for. Stay hydrated. Cool. Breakfast came to mind next. He thought of flying to the bistro down the street and grabbing a sandwich, but he wanted to leave the house. He couldn't find the effort to create a large breakfast. He cycled through his brain for a moment before he decided the rice balls would just have to do. As he patted his face dry, there was the idea of checking his cell phone, seeing if he was needed. It was just on the nightstand. It was brief, but he could shake the nagging feeling. The nagging thought. Bare feet pressed against the tile floors and padded back into the bedroom, but entirely avoided the air nearest the bedside table. If he checked it now, he'd be on it all day, waiting for a call. He shuffled out into the hallway and made his way to the kitchen. Light streamed in from the guest bedroom and his office painted the floor in soft orange light. Keiko turned to the living room and deliberately avoided the other rooms. Today was about him and his thoughts, regardless of how annoying they were at times. He snatched up the television remote from the couch and powered on a large screen across the room. His feet were already carrying him to the kitchen behind the short half wall as he attempted to pick up a show to listen to. Reality TV, news, a comedy movie. None of it interested him. A sappy romance came across the screen, and he hesitated. For the few seconds he watched, there were two alphas that wanted to be mated to the same Omega, which led to them fighting over the Omega. The actors were attractive enough and the acting was okay, so he left it on. Sounds like a Hallmark movie. Then a moment where between the Omega, a tiny college student it seemed, and the childhood friend Alpha, who was large and a bit scary with a heart of gold. Kiko set about preparing the rice to be cooked while watching the screen over the bar. Why would you pick that one? He asked. The question was meant for the Omega on the screen while he flirted with the male Alpha that was far too territorial and didn't want him seeing his female childhood friend. Likely because he knew if the Omega and Alpha continued to get close, the male Alpha would have no chance of getting the Omega. Keiko dumped the wash right into the inner removable bowl of the rice cooker and began filling it with water. He listened intently to the movie while he watched the water rise to the first knuckle of his index finger. I don't think she's right for you. She doesn't even care about you seeing me, but she calls herself scenting you? You could hear the venom for the other Alpha in the male's voice. It was a bit sickening from how he could hear his lip curling in disgust and not even trying to hide it. That's what he didn't like about being a lot of Alphas. Their emotions ran too high. Sure, Omegas were supposed to be the weaker counterparts, but Keiko had seen Betas that handle themselves better than the unlikable Alpha on the screen. It was easy to smell their anger or their jealousy on them, especially when it came to the Omegas. Omegas and Betas were trained to attempt to soothe themselves so foul-smelling scents wouldn't permeate the air, but Alphas weren't given the same training. This was often that he could smell their putrid emotions meters away. Omegas and Betas trained to handle emotions Alphas not so much. For 35 minutes, 35 whole minutes for me to do other stuff, I guess. Once the little machine beeped, he turned away from it and pulled out ingredients for the filling, just canned tuna, mayo, and pepper. Being fancy was far from his mind. He mixed all the components together in a small bowl and covered the bowl with a lid. The bowl went into the fridge and then washed his hands. Laundry was next on the list. He opened the door perpendicular to the fridge and pulled out a full basket of clean clothes. He's gotten them out of the dryer last night. Of course, they'd be wrinkled, but he could just iron them out before he wore them. The Omega brought his basket to the living room with him and sat on the couch. With the pile in front of him, Keiko folded atom after atom, hands working quickly. His work pants didn't get damaged were the easiest, and the tank and one-piece bodysuits were the hardest. Pretty much all of his clothing was identical due to the need for uniformity. Civilian clothes were a little more colorful, a little red here, a splash of pink here, blue there. Never find clothes since he always wanted to stick to 2 or 3 colors, and red was always apparent due to his wings. The stacks ended up stout and separated out into different piles based on what they were. Shirts and tanks were separated, pants and shorts were as well, and different types of intimates went to different areas. High-cut panties, boy shorts, boxer briefs, boxers, and at least 5 pairs of each. The only person who'd seen any of them was Mirko. Reaction was pilotless. You got all these cute undies and nobody showed them to? Hawks, that ain't fair. He was shocked with some. He wasn't about the failed attempts at fighting an Alpha or even Beta that didn't like him for who he was beyond this hero self. And he was far more worried about finding a way out of his absolutely absurd situation. His eyes flicked to the television in time to see the female Alpha and leaning in towards the smaller male Omega. She was speaking to him, but he was finding it hard to focus on his words as his fingers twittered with the fabric in his hand. He had partners before. Omega, Beta, Alpha, it didn't matter. He with people both romantically, intimately, and sexually, but none of it ever lasted more than a couple months. They got fed up with his lack of time. Mostly, would tell him it would be best if they broke it off. He'd agree good naturally, and go on about his business. Sometimes he was hurt, especially if he really liked that person, but he always pulled through and focused on work. And the last time that happened was over a year ago. You can imagine that had been really that long. He took a deep breath and sighed. He found his mind floating back to the letter from the night before. Despite being so aggravated and fed up with society and its bullshit nuanced systems, he can find himself being mad at the man in the photo on the card. It wasn't his fault that things turned out the way. Keiko knew that his issue stemmed from deep within himself, from the years long before he became a hero. So he wasn't his enemy, he sure wasn't his ally either, not until he knew what the Alpha thought their potential relationship would be. He absentmindedly wondered what the man was like as he folded one of the few pieces of clothing remaining. He might be all bad. Keiko might not even go along with him well enough to tolerate him. Beeping of the rice could pull the Omega from his thoughts. Quickly folded the last article and hurrying over to the kitchen. Marco, best of friend? Morning bled into daytime, and before he knew it, twilight was upon him. His one off day flew by, as it always did. He spent nearly all of his time tidying up around the house, ordering groceries for delivery, and avoiding thoughts of the admittedly handsome man that he was, essentially betrothed to. He didn't go back to his office except to tidy up his paperwork. He left his phone on the nightstand where it belonged. The apartment looked much better by the time he finished with it. Eating rice balls in between naps, and he left him a few dishes, which meant a quick cleanup at the end of the night. Once he'd done the dishes, bathed, and set about his nighttime routine, his mind began to wander. He only had, at most, a handful of hours left before he had to make a decision. He was drawing blanks on alternate plans. He might be scrolling on some dating apps and finding on older alphas when he get mated for the sake of paperwork. Think about that. Then he thought about what the media would say if either of them went out with another person. Thought about Aizawa, the UA teacher. He was about 30, right? Wouldn't he be willing to do all that for show? I think it would show that the loner alpha had something going on with one of the teachers. He kept cycling through dead-end answers. Mirko, Headshot, maybe even Mountain Lady, until he helped us out of defeat. He had nothing. The only answer that was reasonable enough to be plausible was giving it to the government main to an alpha that may not actually care if he went about his life the way he originally planned to. I just slid into bed. He snatched his phone from the nightstand. The screen powered up with a double tap of the screen, and an email and text notification filled the screen. When he scrolled to the middle of the list of messages, Mirko had sent him asking what he was doing on the day of a few hours ago. He opened the text and replied, saying he must have been cleaning and catching up on chores to recap the day. Once the notification cleared, he noticed the others, sent from username with no name of his friend list. Toe.1A1. Hey. Another message quickly followed. Time said a few minutes out of the room. Sorry, this is Toya. Seeing the name made Keiko freeze. The idea that Ellis Todoroki messaged him had been out of his realm of thought. That he had a few hours at least to think about whether or not he wanted to even react to Alpha. He sent the message for a few minutes. He really didn't have to respond immediately. He could just say he got caught up with paperwork. It was not a reply. With the other mail, he even believed that. Thumb switch with the keyboard killed without really even type. Hey, this is Keiko. It's too plain. Hey, yo, sorry, I just saw your message. Wait, too informal. Hello. Absolutely not. The cycle of mentally starting a message not liking how it sounded continued for a few minutes. What the hell? He closed the app, set the alarm, and locked his phone screen. He'd have to wait till tomorrow. So he hates hiding things from his family, but sometimes he has to do what's best. I don't know, such a sap for a happy Todoroki family. Here's just a bit. Plus, Sarah. That bleach. What's wrong, sweetie? Take that stuff from his phone for a moment. Ray, his mother. Sorry, I had to make sure. Ray, his mother watched him with concern clouding her stormy gray eyes. With her white hair pulled back into a messy bun, it was impossible to avoid her gaze. He wanted her to worry about him. We can help continue to look at his phone every now and again. He was waiting for the message to consider slightly important. Nothing, Mom. I'm sorry. I know I haven't been paying attention to the movie. He tucked his phone away and sat up straight, adjusting the weight over his lap. Toya Todoroki, much to his chagrin during his younger years, took well after his mother. He got her haircut, a letter knife, her cold, loving body, and her cool personality. Once she realized how similar they were and how it wasn't necessarily bad quality, he started to cherish the time spent with her. He wasn't quite looking to marry, but it was enjoyable knowing that she understood him to a degree. No, that's not what I meant. Ever since you got that letter from the family association, you've been antsy. Is everything all right? Despite being more than old enough to handle his own affairs and live alone, Toya still stayed with his parents. All of the Todoroki children did so full-time, besides Shoto. Toya partnered with his dad's agency. Fumi worked part-time at a daycare and helped her mother during the rest of the day, and also went to a university right close to home. It was cheap for all of them to stay at home than to leave. Plus, the overbearing alpha of fathers said anytime any of them hinted at moving out, he would not so subtly offer they should all save money. Of course, Toya had to understand his wife's father always acted that way, but he left his mother to keep pro-hero endeavor in check. Okay, we're starting off with Toya POV. His mother was the opposite, a cool, collected Omega. She understood why her children wanted to live outside the family home. She did her best to not smother them as they grew up, but then again, having pups only a couple years apart had her focusing most of her attention on the youngest. Even when Fuyima was born, Toya never rejected by his mother. She really lost her patience with him even when she was tired, and he was a good father too, looking for after the children when he was at home, and make sure he got enough rest, but Ray was her primary giver, and Toya grew very close to her because of it. Because of this, he trusted his mother. Probably more than the vast majority of people in his life, he fiddled fingers idly using his fingertips to pick up the slowly fraying edges of his mother worn blanket, the one that kept her light scent of jasmine and water lilies. He kept thinking about how he'd rarely ever kept anything from her. She was his confidant, but he didn't want to tell her. Of course, it wasn't because he liked keeping secrets. His coming and going were never kept from his mother, especially after he got older. Hell, she had even been there for most of his tattoo and piercing appointments for support. But this was new. Something exciting that turned his stomach into knots and made him worry about the outcome. Dabi, as a hero, found it hard to look up to other heroes like idols. He got the hope noble because of doing what it took to protect those who couldn't against those more powerful, more vile, but he could champion the cause. He thought he was aimless as he searched for a cause of his own, but when he told his son about Hawk's cause to create more time for heroes recognition, by decreasing the rate of crime, he was intrigued, and afterwards started watching the other heroes more closely. Yeah, no, I can't speak. He come to know the other hero through his TV appearances in the snippets, and he was willing to let slip about the other. For all his social appearances and love from the general public, no one knew much about him. He was an unsuspecting alpha, one who was put his life on the line and looked rather good doing it. I'll say you rather good in the objective sense, of course. Right. Before Todoroki knew it, he couldn't deny the feelings he had begun developing for the other hero. He wanted more about Hawks. He found himself idling at televisions that were showing live footage of him and recommending articles on his phone whenever they popped up. He earnestly hoped that working together with his father would lead him to working with naturally renowned number 2 hero. Then came the letter. Toya hadn't cared about whether or not he found a partner or even how it happened. He fully expected his own father to set up many meetings for him like he'd done to meet Ray. So once he got his hero license, check off the time box that allowed the family association to keep him on file as being available for toast matches. He had entirely forgotten about it until then. Ted didn't know the name of the car when he just came to Keigo Takami. But when he kept reading the next line, the fact that the hero surprised him. Then came the part that stole his breath. Hawks. No, he thought. No chance in hell. Then he hurriedly flipped the car to the other side. Keen gold eyes and startled blonde hair come from that they were opposite side of the car stated. He can tell his mother that he'd been matched with Hawks. That would mean that his family would already be involved, and they would know the position that hero was in, or could potentially be in. Everyone assumed that he was an alpha through and through, but right now Toya was the only Todoroki to know about Hawk's second gender. Besides maybe his father. Father. He'd heard stories about it too, about Omega Pros being outed years ago, and having their hero license voided. That was before he was born, before his parents had even met. But it set well with him that he was the only generation removed from discrimination like that. As someone was the last thing he ever wanted, seeing as he was sure Hawks was perfectly hiding it. People assuming he was an alpha likely just made it easier. So there he sat on Christmas Eve, lost thought that he was waiting on a message from the Omega and Family Association that matched him out with. Out of the corner of the eye, he noticed his mother shift, moving so to accommodate for her round stomach. So he immediately focused on her again to help her. The doctor said you should try and get comfortable instead of moving so much, Mom. Ray swatted his hand with a good-natured smile. Her brows were knitted in concentration. She lifted herself up with her hands and screwed into the corner of the couch. From her vantage point, she could look directly at her son without having to turn her head. Hush you. I know what the doctor said. I've had 4 of you wrestle with another one on the way. Now. She states finally, smoothing the blanket over her knees. The one with her tiny feet was close enough for Toya to feel it. Still didn't answer my question. What's wrong, sweetheart? He inhaled deeply before setting his phone aside on the arm of the couch. He didn't want to argue with her. Toya looked down, focusing on the tattoos that covered the back of his right hand. Nothing's wrong. The letter was a little bit of a surprise. That wasn't a lie, though he couldn't stop himself from bringing his hand to his face and feeling with a silver ball at his cheek. That's probably nothing anyway, he admitted. He felt his mother's eye on him, and her skepticism was more than so felt than hurt. He gave her a lopsided smile, looking so much like his father in the moment. More like, I'm just waiting on some news. Ray huffed, but assented to his mysterious explanation. She knew her son. Knew how sometimes there was going to be things that she wouldn't know until later, or things she would never know. Fine, she relented. He sighed quietly enough through his nose that his mother wouldn't be able to hear him. They both returned attention to the mostly finished movie for them, the room quieting once again. Reflection. At times, so he had how superstitious he could be. He didn't want to jinx the hopeful thought that the hero looked up to the second most, because if he ever meant that he admired Hawks more than Endeavor, his father probably would be torn to shreds. Could very well be chosen Omega. That's all it was, a hope. He couldn't be sure of any of it, and it would be happening until the other man decided to mention back. He bit the inside of his cheek and willed himself to not look at his phone until he got a notification. He wasn't desperate, he told himself. Just hopeful. The next day during breakfast, Toya sat across from Shoto, his younger brother, and Shoto's boyfriend, Sarah. The two were a sight, really. Sarah was all dopey smiles, and the majority of the time he spent in the Todoroki household. He was gangly, but a bit too smooth to be awkward like Shoto. The currently youngest Todoroki was much more at home with his classmate partner there with him. Toya noticed how it made the creases between his little brother's eyes soften and his shoulders relax. It was almost a bit too mushy for his taste. And of course, as the eldest, he couldn't let that go unseen. Alright, get a room, guys. Shoto's heterochromatic gaze snapped to Toya. The sibling disgust that lingered in his eyes was enough to make the eldest sibling chuckle. Sarah seemed unperturbed, however. He continued to eat, taking his bowl of rest, his hand swallowing the bite he'd been chewing before, letting his eyes wander to his partner. He knew it was going to be a good one when Shoto made eye contact. Toya barely managed to get a bite of food before Shoto responded. At least I have a partner. His words dripped venom, but his expression remained neutral. Toya brought his hand to the stomach, pretending to clench his gut. Wow, low blow. Toya up a smirk. At least I'm not making heart eyes at my boys over breakfast with my parents. You can have time together later anyways. It's Christmas. The blush that blossomed on Shoto's cheeks confirmed that the argument was over. The sound of water lilies and amber filled the room in his embarrassment. His little brother was a lot of things. Clean, keen, apathetic, and a bit bold when he got comfortable. But he wasn't a liar. Shoto couldn't deny that he and Sarah would be spending this entire evening together, seeing as they had already informed Ray and Angie of their plans. Sarah leaned toward Shoto and gently brushed their shoulders together, likely letting out a subtly comforting scent for the Omega. Luckily, Angie worked into the room, straightening his navy blue tie as he gazed to his eldest. Are you ready to go, Toya? Took down the remainder of his breakfast for gathering the dishes and making his way to the kitchen sink. You know how much his father hated to be late. He didn't want to be lectured to get on the importance of punctuality. His steps were quick, and he went to join his father in the foyer. Shoto flipped him off and showed his best to hold on to the water he'd been sipping on. Luckily, their mother was in front of Toya and going to meet their father at the entryway. Love you too, Shoto. Toya called his pulled out a pair of black shoes. He decided he could wear his own style to work when he moved out. His piercing went up a statement against his plain black pants and shoes and white button-down shirt. With the shoes on, he buttoned the second to top button on his white shirt and began rolling his sleeves up as he turned away from his parents. Ray and Angie shared their usual morning goodbye kiss before Angie turned to leave, to send out the door. As they sat outside, Toya settled into a rather plain conversation with his father as they turned in the direction of the substation. He thought about his phone for a split second before taking his thought from his mind. Toya earned a raised eyebrow from his dad in response to a comment. He laughed it off. If Hawks wants to reach out to him, Toya was sure he would. Yeah, he would. He would. Okay. Keiko badly needs a second opinion. Is he just overreacting? Ooh. Overreacting, you say? I forgot to post. I'm sorry, but here's the chapter. A day late. Damn, Jay. You fucking up. How could you? Endeavor, son. No fucking way. Hawks huffed as he brought his arm up to block one of America's signature kicks. He was ashamed to go for the one-on-one training rooms and how thick the glass and padding was. America could be rather loud, and this time was no exception. He confided in her about the letter and the text message, and to say that the Alpha's surprise was an understatement. Keiko used the wind to create a tunneling gust of air that forced her the other hero away from him. She put her arms up in an attempt to block the air from blinding her and stood down with her strong legs. Speedy sweat droplets raced from his temple and forehead down his cheeks and nose. Despite the shedding his jacket, pants, and shoes, it was still a bit more difficult to keep up with his hot-footed friend without his wings than he liked to admit, and she's barely broken his sweat. He could feel his bodysuit and compression pants stick to his skin as he considered her words. A strong scent, vanilla and nutmeg, was prevalent in the small room, enough for Keiko to huff a lungful when he got in too close. He was grateful to have taken his scent blockers that morning, or oranges and vanilla would have smothered them both. Yes, Way, I couldn't believe it, still kind of can't, he answered as he folded his wings in and helped a few feet away from her. She sucked in and every breath at each other warily. Marco's long rabbit's ears twitched and leaned slowly in the direction of the child moving. Keen eyes watched her tonic core flex and her arm reared back to land on blow with a wrapped fist. He glanced between her ears and the muscles to dodge those left and attempted to punch on his right side. Stop moving, you little shit. Marco's outburst was expected, but Hawks didn't anticipate her opposite hand coming to his shirt and taking him back to her by the collar. Her free arm was raised to strike him. In a split second, a single crimson feather had detached itself from his wing and was around to level with her temple. Crimson eyes met gilded ones, and both gazes were filled with the urge to continue the battle. Seconds later, Marco let her hand. A fine smirk pulled out her lips when she released Hawks' clothing. You're getting better, she imagined, swatting the now softened feather. She quickly made her way to the benches lining the sides of the room as Keiko started to catch his breath. He knew his arms and legs were going to be more reminiscent of jelly than limbs by the end of the day, but Keiko honed in on his breathing. Marco tossed him a clean towel, which he got gratefully. She wiped the dancer's coat in your face and arms first. Well, it's not so bad, is it? She offered. Hawks tried to gaze at her. I mean, you've been decided to Alpha, and you're ready to sort of know his family. That was by far the worst part. What if said Alpha's family already knew about Hawks' secondary gender? There was, in reality, no escaping it. He didn't even really have a choice at that point, but he wanted to be pretend to make himself feel like he had one. Keiko wiped at his brow and continued to listen. And I don't know, that might not be as bad as you think he is. So to say that Marco wasn't the most rational, he would have been an understatement. She would leap into battle with very little thought given to herself. Yet there she was, giving Hawks advice. The rabbit hero had a pensive look on her face. It was far more thoughtful than Hawks had seen her before. And it took him by surprise. We're all part of these government categories that group us based on our secondary gender, right? Whether we get paired with omegas or alphas and what they're like, and our sex doesn't even matter because they overlap anyway. She sighed, slicking her towel about her neck. She shrugged and pushed a long strand of hair from her face. I think that they're going to force you to do this. Why not find people you want to be with instead of just letting them decide and seeking those shitty folks? You could be doing worse than Endeavor's kid. Keiko felt his eyebrows knit in understatement. He wanted to say that she was wrong. That he to buck against just another nail in the coffin of his hero career was so strongly he forced him to keep his mouth shut as he thought about her words. She wasn't necessarily wrong. I mean, that's the thing. Is better someone that you kind of know. That you know is a good person. So, training with Marco. Talking about Toya. At least it's with someone you kind of know, not a stranger. Paraphrasing. As one single hero, regardless of his status, there'd be no way that Hawks would be able to rid their society of the mating system, or even change the rules, and that thought twisted his gut to a million little knots. He had held out hope for an alternate route, as though bargaining with the government was right. He was an Omega, and a frustrated one at that. Mirko noticed the twitching of his brows and lips. She knew he was upset, that he didn't like what she had to say, but that was the reality of the situation. They were all stuck in the same situation. She didn't want him stewing in his own anger any more than he already had. Though. The rabbit here motioned him towards the showers as she got her black and white duffel bag from the bench. Come on, nothing's gonna change if you keep putting yourself in this hole. Plus, we're not gonna make control if you don't get cleaned up. She was right again. Haas stumbled as he scooped his change of clothes from his bag and followed Mirko to the small changing room. He felt his feathers puffing and thought of having to simply let all of it happen. But he wasn't stronger than the government. That part was true. He couldn't overthrow the years of tradition with a couple of hero friends and some good luck. He took an entire coup to ensure that they weren't just put into the same way of life again. The blonde sighed heavily through his nose and let the sound of their feet hitting the shower room tiles fill his head. I know. It's not going to change, and I really hate that I can't affect it somehow. Mirko made quick work of ridding herself of clothing. Cook had seen her bear more than enough time for her to think it was normal. He took down as well, taking care to avoid his wings as he peeled his clothes from his damp skin. He and Mirko's washed out, taking quick looks at him while she fetched her toiletries. He tossed his clothes into a tiny washer-dry combo with hers before achieving his own hair and body products. Maybe I just find it hard to believe that I wouldn't get to choose who I'd be with, or that I can just be a eligible bachelor my whole life. You don't, but maybe you're right. He had taken a month to come to terms with the way he presented. He thought, despite his anatomy, that he was a special case. That no matter how obvious it was that he presented as an omega with the ability to give birth, he had hoped that he would present as a beta. Or hell, even being an alpha would be better than being seen as weak and capable. He'd bawled his wide golden eyes out when he'd entered his first heat. Rather than many of the omegas in their age range, the most he'd do was toss and turn in an attempt to calm his hormone-addled mind during those days. He'd never be like Endeavor or All Might, or any great hero. As he got older, he pushed the envelope. He wore scent patches all the time, took heat suppressants, still don't know what that is, and watched as a few people he thought were his friends went wild over the exact things he despised the most about his predicament. The smell of someone else, the clothes that they could wear as Omega, the hormones that swept them up in the monthly mental monsoons. He hated it. They got older and so did he. They found partners to help with their heats. He took it upon himself to attempt to get rid of them altogether. Nights were to go to the doctor regularly, 3 months on the heat suppressants, 3 months off, 2 weeks on the scent blockers, 2 weeks off, to keep his body from stopping them altogether, the doctor told him. I felt like that was a crock of lies. His body would be fine, but he was already towing the line. Crossing with the government watching was dangerous. He felt like he'd continue fighting for little things for the rest of his life, but as he thought, a tiny part of his brain chimed in. Is it really Toya's fault? No, of course it wasn't. They're titled with different ends of the same issue, and for all I know, he may or not be the only one upset with the outcome. And if Toya weren't upset, who's to say he may not see it from Keiko's point of view? They would support how the Omega felt. Maybe I should reach out. Stop as you step beneath the shower head to an electrical spray. Let the water soothe his mind and body until his thoughts swirled effortlessly down the drain. No villains on the radar, Hawks. Keep your eyes on the ground, though. It's still Christmas, even if it's the afternoon. Anything could happen. Keiko rolled his eyes at the voice in his earpiece. He appreciated the feedback, but was rather irked at the calm moment. Maybe he should have chosen to stay in the office. Copy. He responds. Since this conversation with Merkel, he thought continuously about how to reply to Toya's message. Not by being aloof and seeming like he hadn't already checked his phone, or apologizing by being open about how much the situation made a pound to the point that his stomach began to turn. He veers to the side toward his hall paper and then strikes brutally on the wide rooftop. His hand automatically produces his phone from his pocket. Just send the message, you idiot. He'll pull his wing against his back and lower himself to sit on the edge of the roof. The wind of how it was crisp, free from most of the sense of the people at the street below. He locked his phone, mind wandering as he brought up his message again. Hope he doesn't smell bad, at least. God, he thought. That's what I care about right now. What am I, some painting Omega? He hated that trope, truly. Again, that's what the heat suppressants were for. That's what scent blockers and patches were for. Ox couldn't afford a surprise day off, let alone 3 or 4 to deal with the necessary heat. All of it took him back to his parents, and the day left a better taste in the back of his throat. His mother had been the greatest. Keiko showed she struggles up some. Hold on a second. Ox wants rid the mating process, but knows it takes more than a couple friends. His mother had been the greatest. Keiko was sure she struggled from something undiagnosed, something his father made even worse. The constant oscillation between his father's moods started when Keiko was born. His mother told him so, with her own words and breath as her eyes locked on him. Ox shook his head before starting down the 2 messages in the conversation. He tapped on a message short enough to give the vibe that he was busy and interested enough to convince Toya that he was interested. He wanted to keep himself seeming as aloof as possible. Leading someone on was the last thing he wanted to do, and he was avoiding it. Hey, I'm Keiko. We know that from the letter. I was wondering if you want to meet up before a government-mandated meeting. Yeah, rough landing. The last sentence made him wretched at his situation. But he's trying to be lighthearted. Plus, it was all he was able to come with on a 3-hour span. The sun was beginning to set on Christmas of all days, and he was only a little over a week away from losing his hero license. So what was there to lose? He tapped the send button and stared at the phone screen as his own bubble slid up on the screen. There it was, no taking it back. He was about to lock his locked phone when it buzzed in his hand. He brought the device to his face and read the notification. Toto, sure, I know a couple spots. Tonight work? You believe the message tonight, as in today, as in you'd be meeting someone on Christmas for the first time in years? Well, you didn't have anything better to do. Plus, the patrol shift would end in a few hours. You'd be home alone if you couldn't find anything else to do. Probably watching another cheesy romance film that you could talk to. I guess the biting wind pressed into Hawk's body, but he stood to get strong against it. Goosebumps rose on his skin, the surprising cold spurring him on. He definitely typed his reply and sent a message for Mark without taking off from the edge of the building with renewed force. Send me a location if there's a dress code. See you at 8:30. Send me a location and if there's a dress code. See you at 8:30. Next week. So there won't be a chapter, but maybe a double feature after. I hope so. Give me 4 chapters. 8 features. Okay. Date. Let's go. On Christmas. On Christmas. Okay. End chapter. What chapter am I on? 4, 5. Whoa, burp. Which chapter right there, though? Chapter 5. So far, what are your thoughts? Speak to me down in the comments a little bit. Maybe I have to drop something by on Jay. So far, I'm liking it. I don't know these people too much. I know Hawks kinda. And by kinda, I mean like I know what he looks like. I have no idea what he is or his personality, shit like that. Toya, Dobby. I think Dobby's the one guy with the stitch face, right? I can just look it up. And you know, I don't know how it's gonna work. One being a bird and one being a firebird, a phoenix. Think about that. Keep it in your mind. Let it stew, stir it up, serve it up. That's gonna be it for now. We're gonna keep reading though. Obviously, got 58,000 words. We're gonna read all of them. That's what we're gonna do. That's what we're gonna do. Me and you, we're gonna do. So that's it. Fire in the Darkwood. Be sure to drop a like, hit the sub, hit that little bell for my daily videos. You know, I'll be dropping bangers sometimes here and there. Maybe and comment down what you think. And yeah. Before we go though, let me just do this. So this is what we got on the notes. Never mind, we ain't gonna do that. So this is what we got on the notes. Chapter 1. They go 23, 24 in 4 days. Chapter 1. No hurt, no pain except baggage. Golden eyes, pale skin, and high anxiety. Dodging calls from the hero station and partner agencies. Why? Hidden discontent, anger towards family. Wants to create a better world for his friends to live in that everyone can actually live their lives as well. Doesn't want to be knocked up with some ungrateful strange kid. Working themselves ragged to keep mind off being in a forced relationship. Needs to prove himself. To who? Omegas are more than just breeding houses and domesticated job holders. Being number 2 isn't enough. Unless Keiko found a mate by their 24th birthday, the government will take the matters to their own hands and revoke their hero's license until mate has been found and paperwork has been processed. Tamashi Hiroka, yeah, had a little bit of. Forgot to. There you go. Heat suppressants and sunblockers are used for people like Keiko. I guess like betas and omegas, not alphas though. Introducing Dabi, older brother to Shoto, Endeavor's son, aged to maybe. Nightmares. Father might be abusive, either physically, mentally, or verbally. Purposefully ignoring rooms in his house. Also his phone. Omegas and betas trained to handle emotions. Alphas not so much. Mercury best friend. Seen Hawk's underwear and joked to them about it. Keiko had multiple partners, romantically, sexually, intimately, but none lasted longer than a couple months at most. Toya makes first contact through text. Keiko can't answer back. Kind of sad. Chapter 8, Toya POV. This is the Toya's POV. So, Dabi's POV is heavily interested in full admiration for Hawk's. Ray, his mama, understands that something's going on to make her baby act this way. Toya will be patient with Hawk's response. Chapter 4. Am I an idiot? Maybe. Maybe I don't know how to count. Yeah, this is chapter 5. I was like, numbers ain't matching. Okay, chapter 4. Trading with Mirko, talking about Toya. At least it was with someone you kind of know and not a stranger. Ox wants to rid the mating process, but knows it takes more than just a couple friends and a good luck to overtake the government. Mid-patrol decides to message Toya. Date? Let's go. On Christmas. That's it. That's it for right now. We'll keep it up, though. So y'all be sure to like, follow, drop that little bell. Hit a little bell, hit the stuff and things down there. You know what I'm saying? Do all that good stuff. And with that, I'll see you guys later. Peace.